boys and girls. It is Roxors on this Theorycraft Thursday, where we are building some decks with wizards in mind, at least for the past couple weeks here. The last one we did was the Double Lord Relictor Order build, and we did really well. So 5 games of gameplay, we went undefeated, both in casual and ranked queues. So I'm pretty happy with that one. We have to get to the Grand Alliance of Death. That is the one we haven't done a live deck build for. And I saved the best for last because, as you can see for some of the decks I already own, there's a lot of wizards. So, without further ado, I know you guys have seen these guys, and frankly, they normally don't cast any spells. Your vampires are pretty obvious, right? You know, everyone's got a Bloody Vampire Queen deck. I'd like to look, because I haven't, when I go Risen, I go my main man Nagash. But then that deck that I have steers clear of a lot of spells in favor of more of like a stacking Risen aggro deck. And it does pretty well. If you want to check out one of the videos, it's one of the original ones in the Death playlist. I'd like to look at Skulking Necromancer, just because of the ability, reduce damage received from highlighted enemies equal to the number of highlighted ally Risen units. So obviously you want to play Risen, and you want to, it looks like you set him up across from a warrior, and obviously he would need a couple warriors to either side of them in order to house some units. So with that being said, much like we do in most of our gameplay videos, let's drag that guy down here. Let me focus on champions. I mean, in a perfect world, it'd be really cool to do 2 of these. So the way I view this is you're essentially having the second corner of a Mystic Shield up for a longer period of time. Because if you only have one guy on the side of you, then he himself is mitigating to himself. So Mystic Shield obviously protects from all sides, or every lane, I should say. So he's very selfish in that he only protects himself. So if we go the route of having a warrior on either side, those guys don't have any protection themselves. So, maybe we still want some Mystic Shields. I'm looking, obviously we got a wizard. Well, first things first, we'll just grab the Devours now, because his first quest is removal. And with that being said, I know we have some removal in here as well. Soul Feast is only for vampires, so we don't have an option there. Same thing with Born from Blood. I think that's all of the spells that remove? Yes. Okay. So there's not really any, other than mitigation with Mystic Shields, there's really no spells jumping out at me now. Because frankly, out of all the wizards, he only wants the last one to be spell. So he's more ability driven. So let's jump into abilities. And obviously we're only looking for wizard stuff. Trigger the current effect of up to 2. See, that seems pretty good. Because obviously if we're playing with Risen, we can trigger their effects, like Zombie Dragon on the last corner, rotates for 4 damage, hits for 4 damage. Seems good. So you know what, let's just throw, same thing, usually throw 3 of something. I could see a situation where we want tacticals, and I think we really want Commanding the Dead. Deploy 1 Risen or Spirit unit from your hand or discard, so it's hand 2, onto a highlighted champion, no more restrictions apply. Yeah, that seems pretty good and gets us those abilities done. So we don't have any spells yet. Now, so let's look at units. The guys that are going to be to either side of him, what are we looking at? I feel like to double down on some mitigation, I feel like our first pick is the Crypt Shield Black Knight. Because now, when he's next to a Necromancer, whatever warrior it's on is mitigating 1, but then the Necromancer himself is mitigating 2. Because of the Crypt Knight bleeding over with its shotgun blast effect. That's what I call the in front of you and to the left and to the right of that. I call it a shotgun blast. It looks like a Tetris piece, but yeah. So I think a 3-of of this guy is pretty obvious. I also think, especially with the recursion aspect, I think Black Knights are good. So let's just throw those guys in there. Okay. Risen. We've got more mitigation and stacking mitigation here. So you throw that on top after the Black Knight does 2 damage. Now this is increase this by 1 person. So this mitigates 2 on the shotgun blast. So that seems pretty good. Because once again, now whatever's in front of that wizard is 3. So we can get into a situation where people understand that, oh, okay, well, the wizard is mitigating a lot of damage. Maybe we just dodge it. So I think that starts where we go with spells. We want them to play a unit in front of our wizard so that we can then mitigate the damage and potentially have them waste something. So I think Frightful Touch has found a home in this deck for that exact purpose. Now, obviously, we're playing with Risen. I mean, that seems like a good idea, but it's whether or not we have a lot of Risen in our discard. I can see situations where we've got dead cards in our hand because we have nothing in our discard. With that being said, maybe we play something that discards. So maybe we do Infected Terrorgeists, and then we pitch or discard, something like the Black Knight or something that we can then just easily get back. Okay, so now we've got, what do we got? 9 Risen units. We've got a spell. We've got a few abilities. Also, for playing the Servant Deaths, I could see like the last couple corners of these guys being pretty abusing. So I think we've got win condition stuff, even though we've got mitigation. And to a certain extent, I think we want more mitigation, where maybe these guys make a home. Yeah, possibly. I know there's a spell that does, is it this one? Deploy from your discard. Okay. That's really long. I don't know if we want to tie our wizard up that much. All right, let's go back to champions. Who is going to accept these Risen units? I think one of the obvious ones is Barrow White King. Damage from highlighted units cannot exceed 3, so it's got his own mitigation, which seems good. Seems good. And then he only needs 1 ability and the damage, so play a guy, use a Devour, use a Servant Death, because he can use that too, yep. And then it does damage, the guy on him, and that's 3 rotations. That's not bad. So where are we at? We're at 6 right now. If I did one of those, I think we're getting places. Yeah. And we don't have a ton, like I said, I don't think we're going to play a ton of spells. I think we're kind of treating it like Order, where those are more or less like lane-denying things. Both Necromancers are kind of lane denial. But then, do we run across the same issue we had with the double Relictor deck? Where, not saying that we had an issue, but if we draw too many units, obviously our Necromancers can't house said units. Are we able to do stuff? And that's a good question. So, do we stick with one Skulking Necromancer? Because again, they can just dodge that ability. So what if we play two? Then we have a similar setup like the Relictor, where maybe it's Skulking Necromancer, Barrow White King, Skulking Necromancer. And that seems pretty cool. I think we might be onto something. Okay, and that leaves us 5 points. And that's a weird number. 5 points, 5 points. Okay. What costs 5? This guy costs 5. Reduce damage received from highlighted champion's abilities by 2. Okay, damage first, which is admittedly kind of clunky for us. And then a unit, and then healing, and then an ability. We don't have any healing. And if we do healing, we're pretty much looking at either the Vargeist who heals us, or a Mortis engine that heals us. Which, to be honest, would be kind of cool. Because then... Oh, not that guy. Because then we play second rotation, we play a Mortis engine, and then we shoot it to heal? Can we get a life out of this? Maybe. Alright, so that's 5. Who else is 5? If we could squirt this guy in here, because then he would obviously do... he obviously would be able to house spells or do wizardry things. Let me double check Commanding the Dead. Can you, like, Rallying Cry, put him on a wizard? No more restrictions apply, so yeah. Alright, we still have 5. I mean, same thing, this guy's kind of easy, but he wants Mordant units, and I think we're going to stay away from Mordant. I mean, this guy's just super easy to quest. Maybe the obvious thing is just to Barrow White again? I mean, we're not going to miss the... It's just a matter of getting that ability in, really. I think that's where we're at. And that's 32 health. Which seems pretty good. You know, we're leaving a couple points on the table, but I'm okay with it. Because, again, this guy's simple, but you put an Infected Terrorgeist on here, it's 4 rotations. That's not ideal. We want to be able to put a Terrorgeist on here, do, Devour for the second one, and then the Terrorgeist does damage, and then we can stack, and then boom, he's done. Alright, I think we're onto something. We're at 21 actions. We got Devours. Now those... Do we want to just do Call of the Graves? Just to... It's minor health, obviously. But it's an ability that can be played by anybody. So we can fast forward our wizards. We can just randomly play them. And then our wizards can also play Death Through Resolve, but we don't have anything we want to quick rotate. And then our Barrow guys can play Frightful Strikes. Or we just do tacticals? I think that's the best option. Because it's a cantrip, which if you ever hear that term, it just means it replaces itself. So you play the card, you get the effect for that quest rotation, but it also draws a card, so you still have the same amount of cards in your hand. So if we did 3 of those, we're at 24, and we only got 9 units. We obviously want more units. We want them to be risen. And I mean, like, we'd be diluting what we're trying to do by adding, good stuff, if you will. So I think we stayed a theme. And I think we do, like, maybe a couple of these. 26. I mean, it might be 3 of those, to be honest. This is a risen unit. When a highly risen unit is removed, okay, that's not going to be relevant because the warriors are going to be next to each other per se. I think we do want to stack. I think we want to, when one of our mitigation guys gets to the end, I really like skeletal legions because there's some times where, you know, they let the mitigation happen, right? So our crypt shield guys here, oh, okay, you're going to mitigate 2 damage, so I'm just going to draw cards. When he gets to the last corner, if this is the second unit on a stack, you throw this on top, that's 5 damage that they can't remove now. And I think that's awesome. Or we do something like these guys, who obviously can be removed, but they instantly do damage. And on a full stack, that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 damage if you make it all the way around. Which, I mean, I don't see them happening. But, or we play zombie dragons because of Rend. And again, we're looking at Servant Death and what's gonna be the biggest hit. I think we have some choices here. I think we want stacking possibilities, for sure. We also have to think of things that we can pitch to our Terrorgeists and all that jazz. We only need 2 spells, and we only have 3, so I'm okay with that being the last corner, because I don't see us fast-forwarding and needing that to happen. I can't say we can lose any abilities, because, let's see, both warriors need abilities, so those we'll call them tacticals, and then each wizard needs 2 abilities. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ability. And I mean, I know we don't have 18. We got 12 abilities in the deck. The reason I say 18 is because normally I count up the amount of abilities we want and multiply it by 3 to make sure we have enough of those. We're not going to play 18. Well, Devourers are there too. We're not going to play 18 abilities. So we're going to probably concede 1 lane that's not going to finish. Or we throw more abilities in now. But realistically, what's it going to be? It'd have to be like the Call of the Graves. Or we just, have Frightful Strikes or Curse Strikes for our warriors. Which admittedly increases the clock. So I'm not mad about. If we're not going to play Mystic Shields, I feel like I don't want to just do like a one-of these guys or something. I could see the damage from zombie dragons being relevant, though. How many units we got? We got 13 right now. So then if I do... Because you don't want to... I mean, I'm not saying you don't want to, but having 3 zombie dragons and 3 Terrorgeists, that's, you're losing 6 cards, and they would have to be all units so that we can get them back from a commanding, but we might not, have that luxury. So we want to be careful that we don't have a hand state where, oh no, we can't play a zombie dragon because we don't have anything really good to get rid of. There's situations where you get rid of a Black Knight, you don't really care about it. I think we can try this. I think we can see how this goes, and now let's get to blessings. And like I said before, well, I guess I misspoke, because I've been trying to crunch some numbers, and when I build a deck, I look at the champions, and I look at their corners, and I make sure, I told you the number 3 before, it's more or less close to 2.5, just for efficiency purposes, that you want to have that many things. So if we have 6 instances of abilities, that's obviously going to be 15, and we're pretty darn close. There's going to be instances where you draw more abilities than not, and you quest quicker. So we can get all our blessings off. The question is, what blessings do we want to go off? I really think this is one of the best ones, just because it hits every lane. So we're going to do that, because I can't imagine we're going to mitigate so much that that's not going to be relevant. I mean, I don't know a reason why we wouldn't play this. We hit a wizard deck, and it's not good at all. This can get kind of clunky, because if it shows up on a warrior, the warrior's lane is the only one that's going to get guys. I could see us playing this just for another form of damage and healing. We don't play enough spells. I mean, hand disruption's always good, right? But maybe we're not there. What's Unholy Power? Deploy one Risen or Spirit unit from your discard pile onto a highlight champion. Normal restrictions apply. That's not bad. It's another Commanding the Dead, right? You know what? We'll try that one. You know what? Because I've never played it, and that sounds fun. Deathless Thralls. Reduce damage received from highlight. That's more mitigation. Highlighted allies cannot be removed. So if it shows up on a wizard, it's bad. But then he, like, super mitigates. So maybe not Deathless Thralls. I mean, like, I'm just trying not to play Orb of Immortality, but I think we do. Yeah, I think we do. Armies of the Dead? Move 3, Risen. That's to your hand, and you gain additional action. I could see it being one of our first ones that we pop, and it not being good. But if we use the idea, we just got into a conversation on Discord about building your deck and being aware of what your blessings are. Because I feel like people try to, like, beeline to make blessings happen, which you should to a certain extent. But if you know this is one of your blessings, and you've got one Risen unit in your graveyard or in your discard, don't finish that quest, because it's going to be dead card. Now, if you're about to die and you need some mitigation or whatever, sure, go for it. But with that being said, if we're playing Armies of the Dead, maybe we then discard your zombie dragons and all that jazz, knowing that this is a thing. You know, so maybe we don't care about it. How many units do we have? Are we up to 15? Yeah, 15. I mean, it would be cool to play that, because we just don't. Yeah, let's do it. Alright, so now we have so many ways of getting guys back, which I think I'm cool with. Which I wonder now, I talked about in our Chaos deck build, about proactively using your removal. You know, a lot of people aren't going to play a Black Knight on a unit or on a champion without there being a unit across, because obviously the remove effect would be wasted. But maybe you do, because you know what's going to happen? They're not going to play a unit into removal, so you shut them down for a turn. That might be relevant. That might be slowing down chaos, slowing down destruction that wants to play a unit. They can play one to get their quest rotated, but then they lose it. You know, so maybe we can play Black Knights willy-nilly, knowing we've got Commanding the Dead, Armies of the Undead, and Unholy Power, which I literally think I have one digital, I have one physical. Yeah, level 1. Yet to play it. Interesting. Alright, so we're gonna go with that knowledge that we don't care about when we're playing things. So now it's Orb of Immortality or Carrion Feast. We have to understand that Carrion Feast is also a heroic act, which I don't imagine we're going to get into a conflict of interest with our Deploy Risen stuff. I mean, the 4 damage, I don't think it's going to win us the game. I mean, most of the field is warriors, so that might not be bad. Gives us a chance to... It's really just a a gut call here. We are a little aggro-y in that we've got Terrorgeists and all that fun stuff. Will we have the actions to use on like a carrion feast to gain us health, or do we just want something like this to pop up? Because sometimes it pops up and it's a dead card, and now our opponent's just drawing cards because we don't have a good board state. Let's see. I think we just go with the orb. Just because we don't have any instances of healing, really. Yeah. Alright. We'll go with that. And if we find that we don't do enough damage or we need more healing, I've seen instances happen where Orb of Immortality blanks a Wanton Destruction or a Cruisin' for a Bruisin', and that's like super, super good. So, yeah, I think we got it. Alright. So, I mean, I've heard the name Bone Wall thrown around. I don't know if that's what we're looking at, but this is my first time trying something like this, so let's call this... I don't even know. We'll call it Bone Theory. Bone Theory. Them bones. Healthy life total. Yeah, alright. Let's do it. Alright, join me in the next video where we're going to give our Bone Theory deck a spin. And thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you gain a little information about my thought process and how I build a deck. And how it's multifaceted. You really have to look at not just putting everything that's good in a deck or, synergies. Just making sure that it's a well-tuned machine. So join me in the next video for a little bit of gameplay, and we'll see what we did. Thanks for watching, guys. Rock Swords or Box Swords. I will see you soon.